All right, welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Chap, Detroit Lions News Podcast. I'm with Billy Sims, also known as Kung Fu Billy. That's Chris
Berman.
Hey, Chris Berman. He was the 1980 Rookie of the Year, first team All-Pro in 81, second team All-Pro in 1980, three-time Pro Bowler, NFL rushing touchdowns co-leader in 1980. He's on the Detroit Lions 75th anniversary team. He's on the all-time team for the Detroit Lions. His number 20 is retired at the Ring of Honor. He was also a national champion at Oklahoma, a Heisman Trophy winner in 1978 with Oklahoma. He was a Davey O'Brien Memorial Trophy winner in 1978. Unanimous All-American twice, 1978 and 1979, and a two-time Big 8 Offensive Player of the Year in 1978-79. And it's great to have you on the podcast.
Well, I'm glad to be here. You know, one thing about it, I forget a lot of that you just read. I can't remember some of it, but I'm just happy that I'm here and I can talk about it.
Yeah, it's always good to have someone on a podcast like you, because when we talk about like the Lions, we talk about sports in general. There's a lot of stuff that we could ask you that is just like right up your alley. So first thing I'll start with, you grew up in St. Louis, Missouri.
Well, actually, I was born there.
Right.
Yeah.
So you originally like baseball more than anything.
Yeah, at that time period, most inner city black kids, we played baseball.
Yeah.
And I up and moved to go live with my grandparents in Texas around about the 8th grade. So I just started playing football until the 10th grade.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, why it took you so long? Well, out of fear. Because I knew going to the football team, we was terrible. They couldn't block nobody. So I finally went out and joined in the 10th grade. In the beginning, there was a whole lot of running and no blocking.
Yeah.
But we got better. Lost to a team out of Houston. Of course, they're 6'8" now.
Yeah.
My little town's still about 3'8".
Yeah.
You know? And got better at it. And out of pure fear, really, I became a running back because I ran and did things where people couldn't hit me. Yes.
Yeah. So I looked at your stats at Oklahoma. I was, the first couple of years, you really weren't like you weren't like Billy Sims that people, you know what I'm saying?
Well, really, because going into my junior year, nobody in the state of Oklahoma was picking me to win no high trophy.
Right.
I played. I backed up another great guy by the name of Joe Washington.
Yeah.
Number 24.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to play when I went there because I almost went to Baylor. I would have played there because they had a senior running back was leaving. And that year in 73, 72, something like that, they upset Texas for the Southwest Conference.
Mm.
And the only reason why I was going to Baylor because they're a Baptist school.
Yeah.
And my family was Baptist.
Yep.
My grandmother, who raised me, fell in love with Coach Taft, Grant Taft.
Yep.
There in Baylor. And my last visit was Oklahoma. I wasn't even going to Oklahoma. But my baseball coach was from Durant, Oklahoma. Big Sooner fan. And I told him, I said, well, Coach, I'll go up there and visit, but I'm not going there. And of course, at that time, in 74, Oklahoma just won a national championship. Actually, they won it back to back, 74 and 75.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And everything changed after I went up there to talk with Coach Swiss and looked at other possibilities that was out there.
So the question I'm really going to ask you, because I think it's the most important question of the whole thing. You didn't start your first couple of years, so you were behind someone on the depth chart. So how do you view the transfer portal now in college football? That's why I'm trying to figure out what you want to know.
Well, at that time period, we had so much talent on the team that guys was hoping people in front of them get a little injury where they could get in and play.
Yeah.
And of course that came about with all the talent that we had on the team at the time. So coming off my injury year, I started with backfield with a lot of guys that was pretty good, real good.
Mm-hmm.
And I just worked my way up the ladder, recommitted myself to the game, and the rest was history after that.
Yeah, so it was the reason I asked you this because people like today in college football,
different.
I want to start right now, and I was harking back if there was guys like you back in the day, That's like a very rare thing. You know what I'm saying?
Very rare. Very
So
rare.
like it's like people don't.
Plus, we was there 4 years. We wasn't leaving early.
Yeah. So people love the they like to go against the process. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what I look at with that. I was just asking you about the transfer portal because I was like, man, if there was
Well-
a transfer portal, would there be a Billy Sins at Oklahoma? You know?
Well, it was a transport portal, but it was illegal.
Hey, but if you ask SMU,
Yeah, what illegal at SMU? You're right about that. Yeah, it wasn't nothing different. It just cost the money nowadays is ridiculous.
all right, these kids are getting a lot of money for
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and it's kind of funny because I was laughing because I was like, looking at your statistics through the years. I was
Mhm.
like, he didn't play as much in the first couple years.
No,
Obviously, because
freshman.
they had a great running back ahead of you, and you
Oh,
just
yeah.
you stayed the course and you
Right,
stayed there and you
right.
you made what you did.
It
And
wasn't a big deal about leaving.
Right.
You know, we worked together, played together.
plus, you had a great head coach in Barry Switzer.
Oh, with Coach Swisher, yeah. And I look back on the fact that I had such a supporting cast around me when I won the high school.
Yeah.
Actually, my roommate won the Outland Trophy the same year. The Outland Trophies for offensive lineman guys.
Yeah.
And he went pro, but every year, 74, 75, probably one of Coach Swisher's best year recruiting. Every guy on that team that year, he had recruited Texas real good. 13 out of 15 blue chippers went to Oklahoma.
Because he was a all-time head coach. Like when you say like coaches like that were like very like they're synonymous with college football. I think you think Nick Saban, you think
Right.
Woody Hayes at
Woody
Ohio
Hayes,
State.
right?
You think about obviously Barry Switzer, Oklahoma, like
Right.
Pete Carroll at USC. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Some of those
right.
guys that like they transformed the game and they had so many good teams. You're like, man, like
Right.
Oklahoma's is a really big brand because of Barry Switzer.
Oh, no question about it. And that wishbone offense we was running, we used to laugh when they go recruit tight ends and receivers, knowing they won't get thrown to in a game, but in practice, we throw it all over the place.
It was funny because the other day I was with someone who went to Nebraska and played football.
Oh, yes, our biggest famous. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on Nebraska? Because I know
Big time.
there was rivals of Oklahoma in that big eight.
That was the game of the year. It
Yeah.
wasn't Texas.
Yeah.
It was Nebraska, without a doubt. And great supporting cast of people there, great fans. And it always came down to who's going to win. Whoever won the Big Eight conference would move on
Yeah,
and have a shot at the national championship.
and that's exactly what you played for when you played big time college
Oh,
football.
yeah,
You know what
without
I'm
a doubt. I was 3-1 against them. Matter of fact, I still apologize to guys that played with me because I had a fumble on the 3-yard line going in. But that same year, we had a rematch game with them. And we beat them in the Orange Bowl.
See, that's really all that matters. I mean,
Yeah.
It's funny because you apologize for the fumble to make it 3-1 because you could have went undefeated against them.
Right.
But I laugh about it because like a lot of players nowadays they don't think about it like that. You know
Well,
what I'm
no.
saying?
It's
It's not like that anymore. It's like oh, I fumbled. All right, I have $3 million in the bank.
Right. Oh,
But then you got drafted by the Detroit Lions, and that's like obviously you come to a franchise that didn't win much, before you got there.
well, it's funny you brought that up. So when I got drafted, not bragging, it was, first round, first pick.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
First of all, pick. That's what I was about to say.
Until they tell you where you was going. They said Detroit. I couldn't believe. I said Detroit. Which it really didn't matter to me because I didn't have a favorite pro team anyway.
Right.
And I just knew Detroit was probably needed some work. But the thing even to this day about the team and the fans of the state of Michigan, very loyal fans.
Yeah.
And they've been losing forever.
Yeah.
But they showed up to support the team even to this day.
Yep.
And I'm just so proud they're doing what they're doing. Hopefully they can keep it up.
Yeah, the one person I kind of look at like the way he plays and the way you play back in the day. It's Jameer Gibbs, out of Alabama. That kid, he's got some speed. He's obviously got some speed. He's got some moves, kind of like you did. And it's like watching him is kind of like an old. But like you went from Billy Sims to Barry Sanders, so like you went 20 to 20, and you're like, there ain't no one that's gonna get better than that. That's back to back like Hall of Fame guys. You know what I'm saying? And then you suffered a knee injury
in Minnesota, on the turf. The turf got me. It wasn't a hit because I got tackled up top. My leg got stuck in the turf and twisted. I said, well, I'll be okay. It's just a bad sprain or whatever. Right. Well, I get back to Detroit, and 7 hours later, that's how long the operation took. And I thought, I said, well, okay, I can come out of this. And I think I was making some mistakes trying to get back too soon.
Yeah.
The injury really was a year injury.
It was an ACL, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so that didn't happen, and I knew it was about time to hang it up.
Yeah, it's. I want to get your thoughts on the turf because a lot of these athletes, you know what I'm saying, football especially, they talk about the turf. They talk about like what it does to you and like how it grabs your leg or whatever. Grabs a lot of knee injuries. We've seen a lot of knee injuries.
It's a lot better now.
Yeah,
I can't say that.
The turf has gotten better, but like they still, even the current athletes are like, no, it's the turf. It's the turf. It's the turf.
Right.
I kind of look at it like there's a lot of knee injuries on the Lions right now. So like
Oh yeah.
So like what are we doing? But like it's interesting you brought up turf in Minnesota because obviously that was that Astro turf.
Right, and at that time it was 4 teams in the league that had bad asphalt turf. Lions was one of them.
Yeah,
turf wasn't that good. Silverdome, like this much padding on it. That was Minnesota, Philadelphia, and so it caused. I've seen big linemen backing up, blocking toward the knee.
Oh man,
on the turf at that time. Yeah,
I remember the Silverdome turf because we played my Little League football championship at Silverdome.
Yeah, I remember they used to do
that. So when we played Little League Silverdome, I remember that turf, and I remember hitting that turf for the first time, and I was like, "Oh, this is what it's gonna be like."
Right. Yeah, I had experience it in high school. We was going in a playoff game. We had to borrow somebody else's shoes, which they played on turf.
Yeah,
to get used. Well, actually, we get the shoes from another school. Instead of going a day early to get used to the turf, went the day of, and I sprung both of my ankles.
Oh boy!
But I finished the game with 150 yards. We ended up losing though by 2.
Well, you did 150 yards and you lose by 2. I mean, someone else dropped the ball there.
Right. Yeah. And from that day forward, I hated turf.
Oh man,
I hated it.
Because they had turf at a lot of schools, college, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because that was the major thing. Because if you go back in the footage, you know what I'm saying, you see that just nasty green turf, and you're like, oh. Every time I see that, I'm like, oh. Like they had that at, I believe it was Texas Tech had it for a while.
Wow.
Yeah. That nasty green tournament.
Yeah.
Turfs. And I was like, oh. But it's like funny because I go back over your like you're retired in Detroit. That's number 20 is retired.
Right.
Twice.
Thanks to Barry.
They just said no one's wearing 20.
And Lim Barney.
Yeah.
He's the real number 20.
Yeah.
So he had it first.
Yeah, you had 3 people wearing 20. I think we should just put it back into rotation, see what
see what happened with it.
Right? Yeah. But it's funny because you look at the current team and you look at like Dan Campbell, right? Like he's a guy who could coach, like I could say any era. Because my dad, he was in the 90s. He played in the 90s. He was on practice squad with the Lions, whatever.
Right.
And he said, "Oh, I can coach. I can be coached by Dan Campbell." You go back to the 80s and people say, "Oh, I can be coached by Dan Campbell." What do you think about Dan Campbell as a Lions head coach?
Oh, he's doing a great job. I could play for him.
That's
no question.
Anybody who's ever played football, they
understand the game. He's been through it. You know what it takes to be successful.
And that's what I look at with you because you obviously play for Coach Switzer at Oklahoma, right? And like it's like nearly the same characteristics of some of those
Well, the thing about Coach Switzer, he went to the University of Arkansas. Him, Jerry Jones, and what was the other coach for the Cowboys?
Landry.
No, before Landry.
Going back to which.
It'll come to me in a minute, but it was 3 of them that won a national championship at the University of Arkansas.
The Razorbacks.
Jerry Jones, Coach Switzer, Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy
Yeah,
Johnson.
there we go.
Yeah,
Because he was after Landry. So
yeah.
But yeah, Jerry Jones went to Arkansas. Switzer went to Arkansas.
Right,
so
right.
you kind of see that dynamic. But
Right.
I was taken back because like Switzer is just like he's a synonymous coach with like college football.
Well, what he did well, very well. Most coaches don't. Head coaches. He let the coaches coach.
Yeah,
he recruited.
Exactly. That's a major thing.
Right.
College football is like that. You don't, you can't really coach anymore. Like I was talking to someone who coaches in D2, which is like different football from what D1 is.
Right.
He says I don't recruit these players anymore. I'm just like telling them like, oh, I can maybe get you to Division 1 level. Like that's the way it works now. But like Division 1, like Switzer, they were recruiting for like their lives. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And they were trying to get the best possible talent, and that's obviously he got the best possible talent.
Yeah. Well, of course, because they hadn't won a Super Bowl since the Cowboys. He coached the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And I remember he called me. And I was back at home on my tractor cutting grass, and see was Coach Switzer on the phone. I said, "Hey, Coach, I hadn't talked to him in a few months. Usually I talk to him at least once a month."
Yeah.
He said, "Guess what I'm going to go do?" I said, "Knowing you, Coach, there's no telling what's going on." He said, "I'm gonna go coach the Cowboys." I said, "No, you not."
No, you ain't.
I was
Like
laughing.
it's like one of those things you hear. You're like, I'll call you back in a few.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
right. I said, "Well, how you gonna deal with Jerry Jones?" This before I forgot about their relationship.
Yeah.
He said, "I just won't go in there and mess it up." He won a Super Bowl with those same guys.
That was an all-time coach. You know, you think about it's synonymous with coaching. Like I think being coached by Barry Switzer is a huge like thing.
Oh, no question about it.
There's like things in your career. What's the biggest like thing that you remember from your career that you're like most proud of, NFL or college football?
Well, probably my first game. It was against out in Anaheim against the Rams.
Anaheim and the Rams.
We was playing on a baseball field there.
Yeah.
At that time, and I really hadn't showed anything during the preseason. And my quarterback at that time was Gary Danielson.
Yep.
He was a quarterback.
Yep.
He had came to me years later and said, "You know what? When you first came to the team, I didn't think you was that good." I said, "I wasn't that good, Gary. I had to pick up a new system on the pro level because in college I didn't have to really care about plays because I was getting the ball 90% of the time."
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I had that debut with 3 touchdowns, 154 yards, I was back in my groove again. I wasn't thinking about it. I was just doing what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
Because I never had to go block a linebacker or a lineman or whatever, or catch a pass.
Well, that's like the thing that people get like running backs. I think they get like when they play for the first time in the NFL, and they're told, "Oh, you got to pass fly."
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, bro.
Most of them don't know how to do it.
Right.
Because in college, I know I didn't do it.
Right. Yeah. There's some teams players that come ready out of like the college football.
Right.
But for the majority of the players, they don't do the same thing in college football. Like I think Alabama was the one that they taught their players how to pass block and everything like that. Then you can draft a kid from Tulane or a kid from like Oklahoma State, and you're like, "Ass kid pass block." Sure. Yeah. But
or like Barry Sanders.
Oh, yeah, he was not going to be blocking a 300-pound guy.
No, not at all.
He's way too small, and I think they would just jump over him.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's funny because back to that first time because I met Barry Sanders for the first time. I played with Leroy Glover, which is Kevin Glover's kid. So
well, Glover played with the Lions.
Yeah. So
they cut him a few times.
Yeah.
Which I thought was crazy. I thought he could play.
Yeah. Well, that's some of the things that the Lions, old Lions,
Yeah.
They would do they'd be making these same mistakes over and over again. Like you're like, hey, that's Barry's best friend. Why are you getting rid of him?
Right.
It's like,
Right.
what are we doing? But then
Right,
it's like,
right.
I always harken back to like meeting Barry Sanders, and I'm like, damn, this dude is small. And I'm like, I'm taller than him, and like, I'm high school. I was high school at the time. So, but
Tell you about that situation. When Oklahoma, when Swisher was the coach, I had look, he gave his team a speech. We'd always beat OSU.
yeah,
Even when they had Thurman and Berry, they didn't beat us. But Coach Swisher told his players, said, whatever you do, don't hurt Thurman Thomas. So
what do you mean?
Barry Sanders was behind him. Swisher knew what he could do. Yep, true story.
It's kind of funny when your coach says, "Hey, don't hurt the main guy,"
Right.
because the guy behind him
right.
might be even better,
He
and
was.
we really don't know what he's capable of. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's kind of like I was laughing because that's kind of like the same story they had with like guys like when Emmitt Smith, when he was in college, there was a guy behind him that they thought was going to be more better, but wasn't.
Right.
But Barry Sanders and Thurman Thomas at one school is kind of insane.
Yeah, no question about it.
Yeah, it's like it's funny because like when you think about it, like you were at Oklahoma, you and Oklahoma State were just like in-state rivals.
Oh yeah, we was a big brother.
Yeah, it's kind of like here with like
Michigan
Michigan
State.
State. Like I laugh because we was talking about transfer portal earlier. Like imagine if that existed in the days that you was playing.
Oh.
And there could be a potential like Barry Sanders on the Oklahoma Sooners or you on Oklahoma State, Cowboys. Like that's some of the things that are happening in today's college football. You're like, wow. Like you see kids transferring from Alabama to Auburn. You see kids transfer from Michigan State to Michigan.
Right.
It's like it's the most sacrilegious thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Right. It's insane to me. But anyways, like you started the barbecue restaurant when?
Around about 2004.
Okay.
Actually, I was hoping it wouldn't work.
Really?
Really. At that time, I was involved in charter schools in the Dallas area.
Okay.
I had some things going. So the way I met my business partner, who's Jeff Jackson, he had some memorabilia stores up here in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I would do autograph signings for him. So a couple of years later, he came to me about him and I do something together. I said, what you talking about? Do something together. He said, we need to go in the barbecue business. I said, barbecue. I laughed. I said, you gotta be kidding. I said, I won't go in no barbecue business. So time went on, and he stayed at me. And I thought when we first started, we just had 2 stores.
Right.
Because of my name in Oklahoma, one in Tulsa, one in Norman, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
We started out that way. But a few years later, we started franchising.
Right.
Until this day, 21 years later, we're still in the barbecue business.
See, that's what it's funny you say that because you said you didn't want to be involved in barbecue business, but I was like laughing because I was like, grew up in St. Louis,
right.
Then he went to Texas, so right. I mean, barbecue's like literally coursing through your veins.
Well, like most men, they think they can barbecue. It's different on the restaurant. When you're at home, you can screw up. No big deal.
Right.
But in the restaurant, it's totally different.
So when football obviously prepared you for this type of business.
Well, yeah, because I look at it with the supporting cast I have in football, same as business. You're as good as your supporting cast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand it. Like I was laughing because you have a great management here, Troy store, and then
I wish all of them was like that.
It's funny because it's like everyone always says even in football I wish every team was like that team,
Right, or that guy.
Yeah, that guy. Like I wish I had 32 of those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're like, I wish I could clone people, but I can't.
Right,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? But it's just funny.
We do a good job. We have problems like everybody else. When you're dealing with human nature, you're gonna have some problems.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask you because obviously football prepared you for this life. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Because in football you have so many times where you're going, you're in a game, whatever, your offensive lineman goes down. You know, your guard goes down, your tackle goes down, and then you're like, well, the guy coming in, I know he ain't blocking good. That guy. So I gotta.
Well, it happens again, your supporting cast.
Yeah.
Because when I got here, there was one guy on the team that I played with Oklahoma. And I knew he could block because he blocked for me in college. So he's about 2 years ahead of me. And that's where it's all started anyway, in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was laughing because I was like, again, I was laughing because when I look at stuff, I'm like, I never knew that, you know.
Yeah.
You go through some of the ones like life, and you're like, especially someone like you, like obviously everyone knows you, Billy Sims, the running back.
Right.
Billy Sims, the Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
Because we all, every time an Oklahoma player wins a Heisman, you know, you chant Boomer, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes when they don't win it, you know.
Hey, it's all right because that's college football in a nutshell. But like I laugh because it's like obviously this year's Heisman Trophy winner was Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
What'd you think about Travis Hunter this year?
Hell of a player, first round pick for somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, he definitely gonna. He can play the game. That's for sure.
I'm not gonna answer who you voted for, but
well, that's all right because as a winner we get 3 votes anyway.
Yeah.
He was second. I had my running back first.
Ashton Jeanty.
Yes.
So you had Ashton Jeanty number one, Travis Hunter. I felt like those were 2 that were the most.
I did too.
Out of those 2,
Yeah.
I felt like if any one of those 2 won, I'd be like, that's well deserved. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because Travis Hunter played both cornerback and wide receiver, which we haven't seen in a long time. And that's a rarity in college football now because like you see a kid
never get off the field.
Yeah, you see kids nowadays. They're like,
I didn't want that.
Man, I don't even want to play. I don't even want to play 40 snaps.
Exactly.
And then you got a running back at Ashton Jeanty plays for Boise State. That was a boy. That man's a man.
He is a running back. He's the first rounder for somebody.
Someone's gonna get a good running back.
Oh, it's not. You Cowboys.
That's probably what it is.
They need one.
That's exactly.
They had one living in.
And they'd be drafting early, so they'd be
right.
And Jerry Jones loves his entertainment players.
Oh, for sure.
Because he drafted CD from Oklahoma, and he drafted a lot of the Zeke Elliott early on.
Right.
So
he brought him back. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, it's funny because like the guys nowadays they play football longer than they have. You know what I'm saying? Right. But I feel like a lot of these guys, like Zeke Elliott, you bring up Zeke Elliott, like it was time to like hang it up, man. Like I feel like a lot of people throughout football, like obviously Tom Brady's a rarity. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, very much.
Peyton Manning,
you won't
rarity.
See that. Yeah.
Those guys are rarities, but you see guys just try to continue to play, and you're like, man, just hang it up. Like you don't want to be the guy that like looks so bad in your last couple of years. Yeah, was that part of your reason why you hung up? Or?
No, I just couldn't. I knew my knee wouldn't held up. It was time for me to get out of here.
Yeah.
So I would have became a different type of runner. You know.
So you had the thought about like, if I stay here playing football, I'm gonna have trouble being the player I was.
Exactly.
And that's kind of like what I say when I say like a lot of these guys hang on too long because like think about it, like Zeke Elliott when he was a young guy.
Oh, he was
phenomenal. One of the best running backs
out there.
Yeah, and then you see him nowadays older, and it's like, it's like I hate to see it. You know what I'm saying? But who's your top 5 running backs in the game right now?
Oh wow, that's a good question. I don't know why he didn't draft Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. Imagine being that big, that tall, that fast.
Unreal.
I can't even like. It's a business decision tackling him.
Yeah. Very much so. A business decision. Then you have put it up for running back.
Saquon Barkley.
Another great guy.
Yeah. His legs, his power that he has for a guy that's that fast is insane.
Then the running backs for the Lions.
Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah. 2 great ones.
Yeah.
But I just hope the injuries don't catch up with the Lions.
Yeah. because if you were around, obviously playing football for Oklahoma Lions, and you talk about like winning Super Bowls, winning championships. You know what I'm saying? It all comes down to healthy. You know, you have to be healthy because, like, I feel like if you would have stayed healthy your career, you probably won something. I'm pretty sure.
Stat wise, or about the same or just as good as running back stats are now.
Yeah,
Really. So I was up over 5,000 something yards, 4.5 years. So I was off to a good click.
Yep.
But what doing with the running backs now, especially if you have somebody backing up the starter,
yeah,
give them a chance to play a little longer.
Yeah.
Instead of you getting the ball every time.
That's what I laugh about was because like when people talk about like running backs today, we don't see bell cows like we used to.
No.
I think that's a rare.
You like Riggin. Remember Riggin with the Chiefs?
Yeah.
I'm not the Chiefs, Redskins.
Yeah. You don't see guys like that. You don't see guys like, you and Barry and Emmitt Smith. Like, you don't see guys like that no more because they got to go. Like, if they're in playing the days, I think there's only two that I could count on the top of my head. Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, that are like the bell cows, right? And I think that's kind of like a rarity because, like, obviously you talk about like those two guys, like there's 100 running backs in the NFL, and there's only two of them that can run.
But even with those two guys, they got great quarterback.
They can run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To offset them running it all the time.
So that's why that's what I think is like not the same from when you was playing, but from when obviously football has changed a little bit. So and I was like more like back in the day, like if you had a quarterback like Jalen Hurts at Oklahoma, he did go from Oklahoma, transferred to Oklahoma, or you got a guy like Lamar Jackson,
Oh yeah.
I think that would prolong your career too.
Oh, no question about it.
Yeah.
You're not taking all the hits.
Yeah. So it's gonna be it's fun just watching it, and then obviously like we know today it's the start of the college football playoff. You got Texas in there, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But do you have a favorite of who you think is gonna win?
I think Oregon.
See, that's what I said. That's exactly what I said. I just like
with our quarterback because he was at Oklahoma first.
Oh yeah, there you go, the OU connection, the Boomer Sooner connection.
Right.
But yeah, Dylan Gabriel was at Oklahoma. Yeah,
he's a hell of a player.
Man, Oklahoma is just there's a couple of schools that I think about when I think about college football. I think about obviously Michigan and Ohio State.
Yeah, right.
And Alabama, because Alabama, Nick Saban, and everything.
During that era.
But then there's Oklahoma, Texas, and that's like the biggest, like you talk about the middle of the country, that's who I think about, Oklahoma and Texas. And when they went to SEC, what'd you think?
It's all about the money. That's why they left.
See, I was talking to someone who played at football at Texas one time. I go, why'd you leave for, the Big 12?
Right.
And he goes, SEC. He goes, oh, we wanted to play better competition. I was like, whoa.
Whoa. Because at that time, the Big 12, OU was running it.
Yeah.
They was winning the Big 12 more so.
Yeah, because they had those years.
With all the quarterbacks. We had great quarterbacks.
Kyler Murray, this guy.
Yeah, for sure. We actually all three of them playing now on different teams. Kyler Murray,
Caleb Williams. Well, he played a little bit later.
Yeah, but still he was at Oklahoma.
See, that's what I never understood. Why did Lincoln Riley leave Oklahoma?
Well, they offered him $100 million.
I'm just thinking like it's a better quality of life to be coaching Oklahoma than USC.
Yeah.
Because in Oklahoma you got like what, 5 press reporters?
Yeah.
In USC you got 100. You got to deal with all those.
But again, it was about the money.
Comes down to the money. That's exactly what it's always came down to in the college football area.
Yeah.
But
especially nowadays, players are leaving early. They don't like it anymore, and so it's a totally different game.
Yeah. So also, the last thing I'm going to ask you is just very, very, it's very broad, but it's I thought something that I really wanted to ask you because we look at like football today and how it's changed. What's the most significant change for the worse or for the better?
Well, I kind of don't like when players can leave when they want to.
So transfer portal.
Transfer portal. Yeah. I don't like the way it's set up. Everything. And it's making it hard on the coaches.
Yep.
Especially on the coaches. You get somebody that's good. Back in my day, we slept together, we played together, we was there 4 years together, then we went.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I missed that part.
It's interesting because you bring it up because we talked about earlier in our podcast, but like the transfer portal, like there would be no Billy Sims if the transfer portal was broad now like it is, and I feel like if you're drafting these kids from from college football and you look at the transfer portal, you see them they went to 4 different schools in 4 different years, and you're like,
right.
what is really their commitment level to
Exactly.
being a pro player, staying at a place for 4 years, because when you sign that contract, you stay in there all 4 years, and sometimes when your first round pick, you can stay there for the 5th-year option if you make it.
Right.
But it's funny because back in the day, you guys had transfer portal, but you had to sit out a year.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to sit out.
Right.
And now you can just go wherever you want. So if you was in today's day and age, would you have transferred out?
More than likely not.
Yeah. Because you had a identity that you thought.
When I went to Oklahoma, I knew I wasn't gonna play much the first year,
right.
Which I was okay with.
You was gonna go to Baylor.
Yeah. I ended up going to Oklahoma. Hell, I didn't know what a wishbone was. Wishbone, chicken bones, or whatever.
The Italian dressing.
Yeah. Right. And I backed up a great guy, Joe Washington, waited my time. My sophomore year, bam, I get hurt.
Yep.
Fractured my shoulder. I got red shirt. Actually, I even quit and went back to my little small town, Hooks, Texas. Coach Woods came and got me. Brought me back to Oklahoma. He saw something in me that I didn't see in myself at that time. And then going into my junior year, all of a sudden, during midway through the season, they was talking about the possibility of me winning a Heisman Trophy. And I couldn't believe it. I just turned up a notch, and I did win it. And I almost won it twice. Charles White, bless his soul, came in, won it the following year.
Yeah. Yeah, when I went through your statistics at Oklahoma, I was like, man, those are video game numbers. Like, straight video game numbers. And then I was, obviously.
But see, it was the supporting cast around. I knew it all by myself. I had great players.
See, that's what I think separates professional people from the amateurs.
Yeah.
Because you understand that in the broad scheme of things, football is a team game.
Right.
And you ain't going to win with just one player.
No.
That's not the way this thing works. And I think that's kind of something that the Lions, for a long time, that's why they have struggled.
Right.
I think they started to think, hey, let's draft a team, offensive line. Let's get a quarterback in here. Let's get some wide receivers in here, tight end, running backs, 2 running backs that can help out. Like I think when people look at football, they kind of look at it like the stars, right?
Right.
But you're nothing without the guys that are the no-namers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's kind of like what I think with, football in general. I think a lot of people miss that thing.
Yeah, it definitely starts up front.
Yeah. For you, they stars, but for the average everyday person, they're like, man, this guy, he's just offensive lineman. You're like, no. He's my best friend.
Definitely my best friend.
Because they keep me from getting injured. So
yeah.
Because
back when we was at Oklahoma, we didn't ask for holes. We just want to crack. We didn't need the hole, just to crack.
Give me a little. Give me an inch, and I'll take it a mile.
That's right.
Yeah. So, is there any players throughout your football that you played with that you thought were better than people portrayed them to be?
It's trying to think. I was at Oklahoma. We had so much talent there. Our defense was just as good as our offense. We had the Shelton brothers there.
Oh yeah.
Nobody can hardly block those guys. I had a tight end, which I told him not to come because we ain't gonna throw the ball to you. But he became a hell of a blocker and got drafted, went to the Rams. So
when you were growing up, last question. No, I said last question before, but when you were growing up, there was no St. Louis Rams. Do you think St. Louis?
no.
Do you think St. Louis should get a football team?
It was baseball.
Right, it's Cardinal Town.
At that time period, most black kids, we played baseball.
Right.
We didn't never think about playing football. It was always coached Bob Gibson, Lance Pater, Kirk Flood, Lou Brock.
Yep.
That's where I got the number 20 from, Lou Brock.
Is that really where you got the number 20?
Yep. I had the pleasure to meet him over the years. You know, some other Cardinals. But yeah, big time Cardinals fan. So it's I never saw this coming, you know, becoming a pretty good football player when I first started out. I can tell you, it wasn't for those guys up front, I never would have won no Heisman Trophy, that's for sure.
I laugh because I seen it. You like baseball before football.
Yeah,
And
I was left-handed. I was gonna be a left-handed pitcher. I had some pretty good stuff.
But growing up in St. Louis, I understand it because that's a baseball haven. You know,
Oh, yeah.
the Cardinals
Yeah.
are another synonymous team.
Well, especially back in the 60s.
They still are now. You know.
Well, yeah.
You know, it's like now it's become like a Cardinals Blues town because those are the only two teams in there.
Right.
When the Rams were there and they were very short on turf, I mean, I'm
Well,
like,
yeah, that's right.
you know what I'm saying?
Forget about that.
But it's like, I don't know. I think St. Louis is going to get a football team back too. But
they need to.
I said the same thing because you look at how much talent St. Louis brings out
Yeah.
in the NFL, Missouri in general.
And the city can support a team.
Yeah,
for sure.
So that's good. But I appreciate you for having me on,
Thank you.
on the podcast, and we'll do it again soon.
All right. Go Lions.
Yeah, go Lions. Cool.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Here we go.